Chapter 1. I am writing this story about Treasure Island on the request of my friend, Squire Trelawney and Dr. Livesey. All the things I shall tell happened to me many years ago. It all happened when I, Jim Hawkins, was just a boy and my father ran the Admiral Benbow Inn. I remember it as if it was yesterday. A large, heavy man burst into the inn door. He carried a large sea chest and wore a soiled blue coat. His hands were ragged and scarred, and his fingernails were black and broken. He had a white scar across one cheek. I remember him looking around and whistling to himself. Then he broke out in the old sea song that he sang so often. 15 men on the dead man's chest, yo-ho-ho, and a bottle of rum. After finishing his song, he asked for a bottle of rum and introduced himself. He told us only that we should call him Captain. He threw several gold coins on the table, and my father showed him to his room. The captain stayed with us for a long time. He was a silent man by custom. All day long he hung around the cove or sat on the cliffs with a brass telescope. During the evening he sat by the fire and drank rum and water. Every day when he came back from his stroll, he would ask if any seafaring men had passed by. I soon figured out that the captain asked this question because he was hiding from someone or something. One day he took me aside and promised me a silver coin on the first of every month if I would only keep my eye out for a seafaring man with one leg and let him know the moment he appeared. The image of this frightening person haunted my dreams and caused me many sleepless nights. On stormy nights, when the wind shook the four corners of the house and the surf roared along the cove and up the cliffs, I would see the one-legged man in 1,000 forms. Sometimes the leg would be cut off at the knee, other times at the hip, and still other times I imagined him as a monstrous creature who had only one leg, which grew from the middle of his body. Let's see, we'll give a picture now. The terrifying dreams. But although I was terrified by the idea of the seafaring man with one leg, I was far less afraid of the captain than were most people who came to the inn. His stories frightened them. They were dreadful tales about hangings, walking the plank, and wild storms at sea. When the captain told his tales, he grew red in the face, and his voice boomed like cannon fire. Although the people were frightened at the time, when I look back, I realize that the stories provided their dull country lives with some excitement and adventure. The captain stayed with us many months. After a while, he had no more gold coins, but my poor father was too afraid to ask him to leave. All the time he stayed with us, the captain never changed his clothes, except for his socks. His coat was patched and repatched, but never replaced. He never wrote or received a letter, and he spoke only with patrons of the inn, telling exciting tales. During these months, Dr. Livesey visited us many times. My father was very sick, and we all feared he would never live to see the spring. The doctor took an immediate dislike to the captain. One evening, the two men got into a quarrel. In a fit of temper, the captain drew a sharp sailor's knife from his pocket and threatened to pin the doctor to the wall. The doctor never so much as moved. He spoke in his usual calm tone of voice. "If you do not put that knife away, I promise upon my honor that you shall hang for your actions." The two men stared silently at each other, but the captain soon knuckled under, put away his knife, and sat down. All the while he grumbled like a beaten dog. Captain's threat. And that's the end of chapter 1. Well, we'll see you guys tomorrow.